Good morning. I can never tell when my video starts. I have to figure this out. You have to let me know how much you guys see of this video beforehand. But good morning. How are you? I can see my hair is still a mess from this morning. It's August 24th and it is Thursday. Thursday we get to do some theory and some, I don't know what, curating and some fun stuff. So I think I have something really interesting and fun for you. Let's see who's with us. Hi, Steve. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Mario. So nice of you to join. Hi, Maggie. Hi, William. It's so great to have you here. Okay, this you see this piece of hair is like bothering me, right? Okay, you watch what happens. I try to fix it and the whole thing just collapses. Okay. Whatever. It's just a piece of hair. How are you, Mario? Good to see you here. So we have Smart Start today. Good morning, Jean. Nice to see you here always. Let me just get myself together. Okay. So we have Smart Start and you got Bingley. You're joining us for a second day. Bingley is a major artist, everybody. One of the best. And he's got an amazing permanent piece at the subway station. Lafayette Street, Bing? I always forget. Although I do remember your story about doing it. It's just a gorgeous wall. I have to post it. I'm going to post it for you all to see, okay? Alyssa, hi. Jeffrey, hi. Mark, hi. So I'll give my good mornings. Eunice, yay! Good morning. Okay, so Eunice, I remember the question that I wanted to ask you. You got the Van Gogh book. Have you begun reading it? Do you like it? Where are you in it? What's going on? What do you think? I know, it's a lot of questions. That's how I am. Saeed, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Gorgeous day in New York City today. So this is Smart Start. It's the way to begin a day, the piece of art. Get us thinking or continue your day or end your day wherever you are around the world. And we just look at art and look at ourselves. And my mother just entered the room. Hello, Mom. Good to see you. So, you know what I wanted to talk about today? I wanted to, I've been wanting to introduce a particular painting for a while and trying to figure out how to introduce it. So every piece I choose, and when John Haber shows up, oh, thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Hi, Riyadh. Hi, Luigi. Luigi, those thumbs up for me. Ciao. Ciao. Buongiorno. Come lei sta oggi? So every piece I introduce to you guys, trust me, I try to do it in a way that I'm taking the whole audience with me. Good morning, Kathleen. So I know that there are people on the feed that know art history tremendously well, like John Haber, who we really adore, and the artists on the feed who are varying understandings of art history, whether Asian art history, Western art history. So what I try to do is I'm trying to put this together in a way where I'm kind of curating it. So it's not just art history. I don't want this to be about art history because trust me, just Google anything and you'll get all the information you want. But this is about a look at art and a look at yourself. But we do pepper it with some art history. So I'm always trying to figure out ways to kind of introduce things in a great way. Yeah, John, I'm so glad you're on the feed. I was actually going to text you this morning and tell you what it was about. And then I thought, I don't need to tell John what this is about. The minute I show the images, he can type faster than I can say hello. And he will know what we're talking and he'll fill us in. So hello, Alosh, how are you? So nice to see you. Okay. So I wanted to I don't know if you saw the title of this today, When Pain is Palpable. We're going to look at the glory of war and the gory of war, but more than the gory, the pain. So what I wanted to start with, and John, I hope you like this, John. This is my curatorial Thursday, let's say. So this is John Singleton Copley. And it's really interesting because my son is going, as you know, I talk about it all the time. My son's going off to BU, Go Terriers, Boston University, and we usually stay in a hotel right there on Copley Square. So, okay. Anyway, Singleton gives us this romantic, beautiful, emboldened, emblazed, the death of Major Pearson. This look at this battle in the Revolutionary War, and it's It's monumental. Let's see, John. Wait, John's speaking, everybody. By the way, there's a show at the Met on works of paper. Oh, yes, John. I know that. I have to get to see that from the collection that's influenced by World War I. I have to get to that. I want to see that. Good morning, Antonio. And so we have this look. And although we see the central figure and he's obviously wounded or dead. Yeah, Luigi, it is beautiful, right? He's wounded or dead, but he's sacrificed, and then the flags and the women and the babies and the uniforms, everything's there for this incredibly beautiful romanticized notion. And the museums of the world are replete with images of war like this, of emboldened images of going off to war. And John, weigh in anytime you want. Hi, Baskim. Okay, so what I've been really wanting to look at with you, and that has been this piece, Guernica. This is a major piece to present. So we're just gonna, John's gonna do the color commentary. I'm gonna talk about kind of what it is to me in curating, and then I want you to figure out what it is to you, okay? So we have Picasso's Guernica, and it is the antithesis of that emboldened reverie of war. It is, the pain is palpable, as I said. Hi, Serena. Good to see you. Serena, John's on the feed today. So the two of you can really have fun. And my mom. So we are looking at, I think, the way war feels, the pain of all this. And it is stunning, and it is shocking, and you feel it, you hear it, you sense it. Right? Hi, Franz. How are you? I know the Spanish deserve it, but wait. What is John saying? But I miss it as part of the old experience as MoMA. Yeah, I agree with you, John. I mean, this was a huge loss, right, for us. I mean, it is, to have this is just amazing. Good morning, to have had this. I agree with you. And so when I start to think about these images, it always brings me, when I think about Guernica, it brings me back to the 3rd of May, which we discussed in another show. Because again, we've moved from that reverie of war and that kind of call to arms, because it's so, this, what I call this kind of call to arms way of looking at war, to this notion of, actually I'm going to juxtapose these for you if I can, to this notion of, I don't have it, I'm sorry, to this notion of war as an absolute atrocity for everyone involved. And I think that Picasso, this piece, just speaks to it. Now, as a curator, I thought it would be fun for us to look at this piece, kind of break it down a little bit and have some fun with it. So I'm going to show you some images that for me always felt very strong within the painting itself. And it's not to suggest that Picasso is in any way, shape, or form derivative. I just want you to look at it in the way I am. So take a look at the piece. I'm going to show you another piece now, okay? Grunwald, the Eisenheim altarpiece. When I think of Guernica, when I see Guernica, I'm always those hands of Christ. Now watch. And these hands, do you see where I mean? On the ground. Just to me feels so, it feels that same feel from Guernica we saw in the Eisenheim altarpiece. And I just think that, there is that connection there. And so when I think of myself as curating or something, if I were to put together a show, this would be something, the connections that I would like to make. Thank you, Serena. Thank you. So do you see where I mean? Show Goya,
No other artist changes a pot. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeffrey. I agree with you. I'll go back to the Goya, okay? Promise you. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And he's right. No other artist, at that time, Goya really, the 3rd of May, I felt just kind of opened up that whole notion of war and the atrocity of it on the individual. And with the Goya, again, we see, kind of this Christ figure in the center, this sacrificed man, hands up like Christ on the cross. And so then we see that also, Jeffrey. I see that connection here with the Eisenheim altarpiece. I was very lucky to study with a woman, Dr. Hayum, and she wrote a book on one of the foremost books on the Eisenheim altarpiece, and it was really amazing to have her as a professor. Okay, so then I want to show you also, I'm going to go back to Guernica itself as a reference. And John, if you're still there, just weigh in. Okay, so now the second connection I'd like to make, and you can agree, you could disagree, it's okay, is this connection. And tell me if you see it. Okay? I feel like the whole piece is a giant scream, and this kind of disembodied almost scream of this head. So let's juxtapose it and see it. And again, tell me what you think. Because part of doing this and sharing this with everyone is I want you guys to be able to, and I know, a lot of we have so many artists on the feed and art historians and critics and such, so I know that you can do this already. Yeah, good, Kathleen, I'm glad. Hi, Alvise. But when you go to museums, when you see art, when you do anything, even in your own artwork, artists, I'd love to see you kind of, opening it up for yourself and making connections like that. And I don't want you to think, how dare I make a connection to so-and-so. I'm just, not a lowly, but, a contemporary artist and this is a master or whatever. It's about making those connections. It's about making those connections. And through the connections, you see who you are. You see yourself. Okay, so do you see the scream? I see it in every single aspect of this. Anybody want to tell me what you think another connection may be? Shoot, just try it. Just give it a try. There's no right or wrong here. Well, let's see, Kathleen. The same sense of horror. Yes. And in that scream, that's what we get, that kind of nightmare, horror when you wake up and you're in a nightmare. And it's just sheer pain. And horror. Kathleen, I think that's a really great word, horror. I didn't think of it myself. So, okay. Here's another one, okay? So I'm going to go back to Guernica, and then I'm going to show you the other piece that I think is here. And you tell me if you see it. What do you think? I'm getting hearts. Who's giving me hearts? Thank you. Thank you. Is that Luigi? Thank you for the same hearts, for all those hearts. Do you see it? Do you see what I'm looking at between the Guernica and the Van Gogh? Kind of looking at that light bulb, right? That sense of this starkness of that light bulb. And the light bulb as this kind of, in Van Gogh's piece certainly, kind of this pulsating, that's the word I want, this pulsating light that's happening. Interestingly enough, I think in Guernica what we have is a light bulb that it's been suggested that it's also kind of the evil eye. Not sure if that's true or not. John, what do you think about that? Want to know what you say? Diagonals and juxtapositions with the fluidity of line. I see that. Yes, I see that, Kathleen. I see it in the light. Yes, exactly, Serena. In that light bulb, that starkness, that kind of illuminates this dark place, right? I mean, in many ways, the disasters. No, thanks, Jeffrey. That's okay. Thank you. No, I got it. So don't worry about spelling mistakes, everybody. When you're I can figure them out because no one spells worse than I do. I'm dyslexic. Trust me. You don't even have to correct it. I get it. I read better when you spell incorrectly. My mind turns it to the right thing. So anyway, when I think about the night cafe, Van Gogh's Night Cafe, it's like this place is so overly illuminated, and it's a night cafe, and it's supposed to be kind of dim, and and it's almost like we're illuminating this dark, intimate place. And so when I see that in the Guernica, that light, it's like we're illuminating this horror and disaster and destruction of what the war feels like, what the Spanish War had felt like. Hi, Stephen. Okay, wait, John Haber's weighed in. In case it helps, the age-old book about Picasso by Alfred Barr of MoMA, he mentions the Eisenheim-Walter piece as a source for early Picasso crucifixion of 1930. That does help, John. Thank you. That tells me I'm on the right path. Okay, so there's one more juxtaposition I want to get in. Anybody see it? Serena, do you see it? Kathleen? Anybody? John? Major one. One of my favorites, of course, because if you know me, and I know you all kind of do now, look at this. Do you see it? Tell me if you see it. Let's see what Kathleen said. See, I give you a minute. Shadow. Yeah, there's a lot of shadow here. You're absolutely right. There's so much to say about the shadows. There's so much to say about these figures, these disembodied heads, right? It's almost like ghosts that are just coming through that door. And I'm going to read you something about how the scene is set as well. But do you see this Serena composition? And what I see here, do you see the figure? Do you see the Pietà, the mother and child, all the way to the left? Right under the bull or cow or whatever. There's a lot of usage of that for him, the bull's head and such. Yeah, mother and baby, exactly, Eunice. That's exactly right. And she is screaming. She is screaming. Her head is thrown back. That child may be dead. Hi, Dana. How are you? And she just throws her head back in a way that's probably not even possible. It's talk about mannerist, John. It's just so, right? It's so flexible. It's like the pain of it is so great. And she lets out a scream that is just stunning. And then in the foreground there is the Grunwald that we saw, the hands of Christ. Does everybody see that? And I just think that is really something. So let me just tell you what I've read about the piece and share it with you. The scene is within a room where, at an open end on the left, a wide-eyed bull stands over a woman grieving over a dead child in her arms. The center is occupied by a horse falling in agony as if it had just been run through by a spear or javelin. The large gaping wound in the horse's side is a major focus of the painting. Under the horse is a dead, apparently dismembered soldier. His hand on a severed arm still grasps a shattered sword from which a flower grows. On the open palm of the dead soldier is a stigma, a symbol of martyrdom derived from the stigma of Christ. Now remember, Jeffrey, I'm going to go back, because remember the stigma, the stigmata we saw right back here, Jeffrey. There's a stigmata on this figure in the 3rd of May. So that referencing of Christ. Yeah, I'm happy that you're here live too, Dana. Thank you. Do I see the compositional juxtaposition? Serena, tell me which piece you're referring to, because I want to know what you're referring to. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Carlos. Tell me which position, which one you're talking about. Guernica, juxtaposing within there. Just can you explain it to me? Okay, So anyway, on the open palm, we got a light bulb blazes in the shape of an evil eye over the suffering horse's head. To the upper right of the horse, a frightened female figure who seems to be witnessing the scenes before her appears to have floated into the room through a window. Her arms, also floating in, carries a flame-lit torch. The lamp is positioned very close to the bulb and is a symbol of hope, clashing with the light bulb. From the right, an awestruck woman staggers towards the center below the floating female figure. So this kind of goes on in the basic way that we break down a composition in art history. One second. The Pietà and the basic triangular composition of Guernica. Yes, I do see it. You're absolutely right. That triangle. And that's also what I believe, Kathleen, you were mentioning, that triangular. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Really good eye. Really good eye, both of you. So what I find interesting about all this and reading it, and it is, kind of breaks down the scene, which is very interesting. I think we can do it with our own eye, though. But there's been so much more written about it. And what I thought was very interesting is that they're saying that there's two hidden images formed by the horse that appear in Guernica. A human skull overlays the horse's body, and a bull appears to gore the horse from underneath. The bull's head is formed mainly by the horse's entire front leg, which has a knee on the ground. The leg's kneecap forms the horse's nose. A horn appears within the horse's breast. So what they're talking about is a lot about the what's being symbolized. And art historian Patricia Failing says, the bull and the horse are important characters in Spanish culture. Picasso himself certainly used these characters to play many different roles over time. This has made the task of interpreting the specific meaning of the bull and the horse very tough. The relationship is a kind of ballet that was conceived in a variety of ways throughout Picasso's career. Here's my favorite part. When pressed to explain the elements of Guernica, Picasso said, "The bull is a bull. The horse is a horse. If you give a meaning to certain things in my paintings, it may be very true, but it is not my idea to give this meaning. What ideas and conscious you have got, I obtained too, but instinctively, unconsciously, I make the painting for the painting. I paint the objects for what they are." Let me read that again because I may not have read it correctly with the punctuation. Hi, Alan. He says, if you give a meaning to certain things in the paintings, it may be true, but it is not my idea to give this meaning. So what he's saying is he's not specifically sitting there saying, I'm going to paint the bull because it symbolizes X, Y, and Z. I'm going to look at Grunwald's Eisenheim altarpiece and think about those hands of Christ, and then it's going. What he says is, what ideas and conclusions you have got, I obtained too, but instinctively, unconsciously, I made the painting for the painting. I paint the objects for what they are. And I really, hi Jill, I just love that because it's so much fun for art historians, art critics, for curators, myself, to, hi Jason, oh good, I'm glad you're joining then with us today, Jill. And it is so great to look at this and to break it down and to decipher it. And then I'm always reminded, though, that the artists, to take a step back, because, hi, Don, the artists aren't necessarily painting like that or thinking in those terms consciously. We've talked about Georgia O'Keeffe here. She is the last person that thinks that her flowers have anything to do with the female anatomy. And so it's really interesting that what is brought to the work by historians and all of us, and then what the artist is looking at. So what I want to do is I want to go back to the full piece. And I do truly believe, and this is not in any way, shape, or form a political statement, but honestly, when I see this piece, I think, and it's massive, right? It's 134 by 305 inches. So if somebody wants to do the math on that, of how many feet it is, what is that, like 12 by whatever. You know, I can't do math and I can't spell. I can't add. Anyway, so it feels like if we all looked at this piece in determining if anybody should ever go to war, there would be no reason to, think about it. So let me see what Don says. I just mentioned Guernica in an art statement after seeing it was a highlight. Yes, very good. Yes. I think you had said that, right? I think I read that you had said that. Yeah. It's amazing to see this work. It's just absolutely, it's enveloping, right? It takes you in. You see it, you hear it, you feel it. You feel that. Very, very, very different from this. This is a very, very different feel in looking at the picture of war. What we glorify, what we honor, juxtaposed to the horror and the feel of all of this. Almost scary to kind of enter it. It's this black and white nightmare. So that was my look at my little curatorial process this morning, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. And I always love your comments, and I check them all day. And we're really developing a fantastic audience. We've had consistently 800 viewers a day, 500 to 800 viewers a day, and those are really great numbers. Really great numbers. So I'm really excited about this and continuing to do this. So tomorrow is Friday. I'm going to try to play Guess Who tomorrow. I'm running out of Guess Who's. It's not that easy. I can't trick you guys, So I want you all to have a wonderful day, a wonderful Thursday. It's beautiful weather in New York City. I hope it is where you are. And I will be back I'm hoping it's going to be Guess Who, because again, I'm running out of ideas. So if you have an idea, please, if you think we can stump the audience or me, please send me your idea. You can always private message me, by the way, too. If there's something you want to tell me that you don't want to put on the feed or something, just private message me. It's totally okay. I check everything, okay? Wait, let me just see who's here before we say goodbye. Jason, hi. Yeah, Jeffrey, black and white nightmare, right? Thank you. Thank you, Saeed. So thank you all very, very much. Thank you, John Haber. Serena, I want to see you very, very soon. And you guys have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow for hopefully Guess Who.